video, we will learn how to manipulate or change the data that we already have in a cell, and we will also understand the type. In this video, we will learn how to manipulate or change the data that we already have in a cell, and we will also understand the types of data that we have in Excel. So this is where we left off in the last video. We have this file saved named Excel Basics. We will double click on it to open it. We have some data in the cells B2 to C4 in this worksheet. If you select cell B2 and start typing now, it will clear the cell first and enter the new input you have given. So if I start writing columns again, you can see that I have to type it again completely. But what if I just wanted to edit some part of the text without clearing the content? For example, I want to write number of columns instead of just columns. How to do that? For that, we double click on this cell. Now this cell is in edit mode. You can click wherever you want to edit, that is add or remove text. You will see this blinking cursor there. Now you can type the new text, number of, and hit enter. Your cell is updated now. Another way of editing content is to select that cell and editing it in the formula bar. So if I want to remove this number of part, I can just select that and press backspace or delete key. Now if you want to clear a cell, that is, if you want to delete the contents of the cell, you can select the cell and press backspace or the delete key of your keyboard. You can see that the content of that cell is cleared. Now you can enter new text if you want to. So here's a quick recap. To replace text in a cell, click that cell and type the new text. To edit a text, double click on that cell and then type. To clear the text, click on the cell and press delete or backspace. This is how we change existing data in cells. Okay. Now we are going to discuss types of data we enter into cells. Basically, the data is only three types. One is textual, which consists of alphabets, such as the cell B2, which contains the text columns. The second type is numeric, which consists of numbers, such as the cell C2, which contains this numeric value of 16,384. And the third type is formula, such as the cell C4, in which we have written the formula is equal to C2 into C3. But within numeric type of data, there are more types of formats. In the Home tab, in the drop down here, you can see various other formats. By default, it will be at General. If you select number, it will become numeric with 2 decimal points. If you select currency, it will add a currency symbol such as this dollar or rupee symbol and a comma at appropriate positions. There are various other formats also, but one of the most important format is the date format. We need to understand a concept here. Excel treats date and time as a special type of numeric value. The earliest date that Excel understands is January 1st, 1900. This date is taken as number 1. To illustrate, let's enter 1 in this cell. Now let's select long date format in the drop down. You can see number 1 is converted into this date 1st January 1900, which is the first date for Excel. If you enter number 2, that will be converted to January 2, 1900. And the series goes on. We do not need to concern ourselves with the numeric date format though. If you enter 2nd June in this cell and press enter, Excel understands that it is a date and handles it accordingly. We understood that concept that dates are handled as a numeric value because sometimes when you open someone else's Excel file, you may find that there are numbers in the date column. Now you would know that you just need to select the number and change the format to date type. Same goes with the time format. Apart from that, when you have textual data in a column, say in the B column we have textual data. Now if we start typing new text in this column, Excel will auto recommend textual values basis other values in that column. So since the last value in this column is cells, if you type C, Excel will recommend that you can enter cells here. If you accept this change, you can press enter and this cell will have the value cells. If you do not want to use that value, you can just continue typing whatever you want to type. Another thing about numerical values. So when we converted that number, which was in general format, to a number format, we saw that there were 2 digits added after a decimal point. If you want to remove these digits, or if you want to increase the number of digits after the decimal point, you can click these 2 options. The first option increases the number of digits after the decimal point, and the second option reduces the number of digits after the decimal point. So if we have value of pi in this cell as 3.14159, and you think that these are too many digits for most of your calculations, you just need to look at only 2 decimal digits, you can go and click on this option to reduce the number of digits that are visible to you. You can see in the formula bar the original value is retained, but in the cell you will see only the number of digits which you have specified. With this, we conclude this lecture. In this video, we are going to learn the basics of handling the data in tables and the functions cut, copy and paste. We already have created this small students data table. I have added few more rows to it. The first thing we must know is how to move around in this table. If you remember from previous lectures, if you want to go to any particular cell, you can either click the cell with your mouse or you can use arrow keys on your keyboard to navigate. But if you are in the first row and you want to go to the end of the table, then you need not press the down key so many times. You can simply hold the control key of your keyboard and press the down arrow. See, we are at the end. Similarly, if you want to go to the right end, press Ctrl and right key. To go to the top, Ctrl plus up arrow. So when we have huge data, using these keyboard shortcuts, we can easily move to any end of our table. Next, we are going to discuss very important functions of cut, copy and paste. You must have done this in other text programs, but let's see how this happens in Excel. There are two combinations, cut and paste or copy and paste. When we cut and paste data, it is removed from the original position and added at the other place. It is similar to transferring data from one place to another. So let's cut the data in cell C1. To do that, we go to cell C1 and click on Cut option in the Home menu. When you do this, you can see the dotted border around this cell, which means that the content of this cell is ready to be transferred. Now activate cell D1 and click Paste. You can see that the contents of the cell C1 are now transferred to cell D1. There are two other ways of cutting and pasting. One is right-clicking on the cell and selecting the Cut option, and then right-clicking on the destination cell and selecting the Paste option. But the fastest way of cutting and pasting is using keyboard shortcuts. Keyboard shortcuts are used to increase work efficiency. The keyboard shortcut for cutting is Ctrl plus X, that is, hold down the Ctrl key and then press the X alphabet key. When we do this, you can see again that a dotted border comes around the selected cell. Now we can again select the destination cell and paste the contents that we have already cut using the shortcut for pasting, which is Ctrl plus V. So hold down Ctrl key and press the V alphabet key to transfer the data to the destination cell. So in cases where we have to do cut paste multiple times, using keyboard shortcuts is the best idea. The other combination is copy plus paste. The difference is that copy does not remove data from original position. It just makes a copy of it, and we can paste this copy wherever we like to. For example, if I want to repeat student name J 5 times, I will just copy it once by selecting the cell and clicking the copy option here in the Home menu. Again we see that a dotted border comes around this cell. We can now go to all the cells one by one and hit the paste button. This will create 5 copies of the original, and the original will also not be removed. Again, for copy pasting also there are two more ways. Either do right click and select copy option on the first cell and then right click and paste on the destination cell. Or we can again use shortcuts. Shortcut for copying is Ctrl plus C, and you know that the shortcut for pasting is Ctrl plus V. So now let's copy paste student roll number and marks in the blank cells. Okay, so till now we have moved and copied contents of only one cell. But if you want to move entire table or some part of this table, how can we do that? We can do that by selecting the entire range of cells that we want to move or copy. To select multiple cells, click on the first cell of the part you want to copy, hold the click, drag the mouse till the last cell and now leave the click. You will see that the entire selected portion is having a grayish background. Now if you hit Ctrl plus X, this entire portion will be cut. You can see the dotted border. It also signifies that the contents of this entire part are ready to be moved. Now click on the part of the sheet where you want to move this data and press Ctrl V. There, the data is transferred. Similarly, for making a duplicate of the entire table, select the entire table, hit Ctrl C, go to the new location and hit Ctrl V. Now, as I told you that to increase efficiency, people use shortcuts of cutting, copying and pasting. Similarly, there are shortcuts to help select required data from the table quickly. So let's say I am at the first cell of the table. Now if I want to select the first row, I can press and hold the shift key and hit the right arrow once. This will select the adjacent cell only. I can repeat doing it till I select all the cells in this row. Or I can use another shortcut. I'll again go back to the first cell. Now I will press Ctrl, Shift and now I'll press the arrow key. You know, Ctrl key will take you to the last cell in that direction, and pressing Shift key will select all the cells. So this shortcut, Ctrl plus Shift plus direction key, will select all the cells in that direction. Now you can see that the entire first row is selected. If I press and hold Shift key and now hit the down arrow, the second row is also selected. If you want to select the entire table, can you guess what you need to do? Yes, just hold the Ctrl key and now press Shift and down arrow. In this way, we will select the entire table. To move this table, you just need to now press Ctrl X or Ctrl C, and to paste it anywhere else, you need to do Ctrl V. Also note that if you have cut the selected area by mistake, that is, you selected the entire table and you have hit Ctrl X, but you do not want to cut this part, you do not want to move it to any other location, but you can see that this area is ready to be transferred because there is a dotted border around it. To clear the selection, that is to cancel our cut operation, you just need to press the escape key and that will cancel the cut operation. The entire table is still selected, only the cut operation is cancelled. Similarly, when you are copying, once you copy, the data will be ready for pasting unlimited number of times. So if you want to stop pasting, it is a good practice that you press escape key after you have pasted it in your desired location. Since we have covered a lot of shortcuts in this lecture, there are two very important shortcuts that you must know. These are the shortcuts which help us undo our mistakes. For example, I select the entire table and mistakenly hit delete. My entire table is gone. If I want to get this table back, we just have to press Ctrl plus Z. This shortcut is for undoing whatever operation you have done last. Since we deleted this data in the last operation, when we press Ctrl Z, it undid whatever operation we did last. And the number of undos you can do is not limited to one. You can undo multiple operations. So for example, if I mistakenly rename this cell to Rn and rename this cell to N, and I want to undo both of these operations, I'll just press Ctrl Z 2 times. The first time, my last operation was to rename the cell containing name. That was undone first. Now if I press Ctrl Z again, the cell containing roll num will be corrected next. But this is the shortcut. If you want to undo using the option on the Excel screen, this is the undo option on the Excel screen. And it is also suggesting that what is the last operation that you did. The last operation we did was pasting the data, and if you want to undo that paste, you can click this icon and it will undo that paste. But if you do this mistakenly, you have to redo it. For that, there is a redo button. Click on it and that will be done again. The shortcut for this is Ctrl plus Y. However, redo is a very rarely used feature, but undo is quite often used. So remember the shortcut for undo, Ctrl plus Z. Let me give you a quick summary of what all we covered in this lecture. We learned how to do cut, paste and copy paste. For cutting and pasting, the shortcut was Ctrl X and then Ctrl V. For copy and pasting, the shortcut was Ctrl C and then Ctrl V. We also learned to navigate within a table using just arrow keys or Ctrl plus arrow keys. We learned selecting different parts of the table using Shift plus arrow key or Ctrl plus Shift plus arrow key to select entire rows or entire columns. At the last, we also learned how to undo our mistakes using the Ctrl plus